Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. The sweep slips away against the Braves. They had a chance. No-hit Cade Horton was electric. The bullpen was not. And what do we think about sitting PCA for another game? All those discussions and much more next on CHGO Cubs. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast, driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO at sign-up. Well, this looked good, and then it didn't. 5-1 Braves. They win the series, but don't get the sweep over Atlanta. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman in the house tonight. He brought the ooey gooey Brownies, which were 1-0 to start the game, and then the game went ooey pooey the rest of the way.
I like that.
See how I did that?
Ooey pooey.
But it wasn't the fault of the ooey gooey cake.
No, my wife would be very mad. You blame it on her.
It was. Thank you, Kenzie. It was outstanding.
Luke really needs that cake, so there's no way that he's.
I may have had 2 slices. Okay,
you did actually. You did.
Oh, it's factual.
It's a fact. You had 2 slices.
Well, see, there it is. Hey, before we get started, we're going to talk about everything. We'll talk about PCA. We'll talk about whether or not Horton should have come out. We'll talk about whether it was the right guy coming in. We'll talk about probably Sammy and D. Lee coming up, all the fun stuff. But we do want to talk to you about something that's special that's going on here at CHGO right now. Think of all your favorite athletes. Maybe it's Derek Lee, right? Every single one of your favorite athletes had a coach, a mentor, or a family member who believed in them first, somebody who saw their potential and gave them the confidence to go for it. That's what Big Brothers Big Sisters does every single day. They create those life-changing connections for kids in our community. So for the entire month of September, here at CHGO, we're partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America to help fund their mission. Your donation ensures another child gets a mentor, a role model, a champion in their corner. You could be that champion. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can donate directly by hitting the donation button right on your screen. It's the little handshake button. If you're listening on the podcast, go to bbbs.org/allcity. Let's help ignite the potential of the next generation. Again, podcast listeners, that's bbbs.org/allcity. Any amount helps. If you can afford to do it, we appreciate it, and so do our littles, as we like to call them. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a obviously great organization. All right, we'll be doing that throughout the month here, and we appreciate any donations anybody can make. So we had a shot at the sweep. We had Justin Roman texting on the old text string on our phone saying, guys, by the end of the night, we could be 4 back.
Yes.
Justin, are you willing to concede yet that the division is over?
I have a blue broom in my trunk in the West Loop in my car. I was going to bring it in and do like a little video, and my wife goes, don't you dare, because if the Cubs do lose by chance, it's going to be the walk of shame with this blue broom, and people could blame it on you. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. We should have swept the Braves. We should have swept the Rockies. I am now willing to accept that we will be a wild card team, still going to the playoffs. Hey, we're still good, guys. We're still in great shape in the wild card spot, but I am willing to concede the division, yes.
I got another dad joke. It's now the broom of gloom when you take it home. There it is. You can bring it in now anytime.
All right, good.
Right? It's the sweep broom or it's the broom of gloom.
But it's frustrating because, the Rockies and the Braves are both not good teams, okay?
Yes.
The Rockies are worse, but the Braves aren't a good team either. And you had 2 chances to sweep 2 bad teams, and you failed to do so while leading both Game 3s. It's frustrating.
Sweeping just isn't our style, boys. We follow trends as best we can, and for the Chicago Cubs, sweeping just isn't our thing.
Yeah.
And when you talk about, the broom and you talk about the gloom, I think that some of the gloom tonight goes towards, I feel bad for Cade Horton.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into Cade Horton in just a second, but it just sort of felt like you ever go to one of those off-Broadway plays and Cade Horton shows up and he's like, tonight your bullpen performance that usually would be Andrew Kittredge and Cole Thielbar and Brad Keller and Daniel Palencia will be played tonight by Ben Brown, Taylor Rogers, and
So we had an understudy bullpen.
we got
the cast had the flu.
It was the
Yes.
B squad tonight for the bullpen.
Right.
It was a bit of a B squad tonight for the lineup.
Right.
It would be nice that over the course of a 162 game season, you pick up a win at one point or another when you play your B squad out there. But the Cubs have been on the short end of the stick of that pretty often. And yeah, unfortunately, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But it would have been nice to pick up a sweep, especially on a night when Cade Horton pitched so well.
In the live YouTube chat here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, which, by the way, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger, Timothy Wire says, sure, the bullpen deserves some blame, but 1 run and 4 hits isn't going to win a lot of ball games. Bingo. We'll get to that as well.
Good point.
Rob says, do you truly believe in this bullpen? I do. It's just got to be the right guys at the right time. The question in this game is, Horton went 5 innings. And was it the right time to take him out? And then were the right people used at the right time? Well, here's the thing. I'm totally with Craig Counsell taking him out with a no-hitter going after 5 innings because Cade Horton in a playoff series is more important to me than Cade Horton pitching 6 innings of no-hit baseball tonight.
Yeah.
And we got to start watching that. And again, I've said 1,000 times now in the last week or so, the division is over for me. They're making the playoffs. There's no sense in pushing him extra innings and using extra bullets in his arm. Yeah. So I'm cool with that. The question is, should Ben Brown have been the guy? Now, he was fine at first. The problem was he couldn't give you 2 because the matchups say maybe Pomeranz was looking at Harris. That's what you would like it to be. Could it have been a different set of pitchers just with an off day coming up? Right? Could you have actually gone for the sweep and put in your guys?
If you're trying to get a sense of what the formula is for Craig Counsell, this seemed to be lined up perfectly for you get 5 from Cade Horton, 6th inning, you get Ben Brown, who, quality strikes we talk about all the time, a little bit all over the place, the fastball command, but able to get out of that inning. Really nice slider to get that Cade to end the inning. I was telling you guys, I don't know why he came back out for that 2nd inning.
Yeah, you called it.
We've seen from Ben Brown, he's a young player. I do think that he is ascending, but right now he isn't performing. Yeah. So when he's not performing right now, I just think his leash is probably the shortest it should be of any of the members of the bullpen. So him earning a 2nd inning didn't really make a lot of sense to me because, Luke, to your point, you get 5 no-hit innings. You're up 1-0. You get 1 inning. You get 3 outs from Ben Brown. Great. That now lines everything up for that Craig Counsell formula of the combination of 9 outs between Kittredge, Keller, Palencia, and Thielbar. And we've gone back and forth about maybe you don't need to use Palencia. Maybe tonight's a great night for Keller to get the save. Mm-hmm. But it seemed to line up like that tonight, and they brought Ben Brown back out for the other inning. The inning got dirty. You bring in Pomeranz, big blast. All of a sudden, you're down 3-1, and it gets away from you, and then you get off that formula completely. So it was lined up there for the Cubs to possibly steal this one 1-0. Yep. The offense needs to do more, Justin.
Well, yes.
But on a night with Cade Horton, it would have been nice to see your A-list guys come out of the pen to support him.
But you know why it didn't? Why they didn't? For what I was just saying about why Horton came out. Because this was a game, you can even look at the lineup going into the game. This is a game where Counsell's already thinking about
Friday.
He's already thinking, all right, I can give Keller multiple days off here. I can give Palencia multiple days off here. I can give PCA multiple days off here. I can make sure that Horton is rested. He's thinking about rest because I think in his mind he really knows it's going to take something really crazy or special to win the division anyway. So he's already focused on trying to manage what's really important, which is the postseason. This one slipped away because of it. I know it's frustrating as a fan. It is, because there was a win sitting there and a sweep sitting there on a platter. But I do understand kind of what happened tonight.
Yeah.
And I blame the offense more than I blame the bullpen or Counsell's decision of wanting to go a second inning with Brown.
Yes.
He's not worried about Brown pitching too many innings.
Right. And the flip side of that is, had Brown pitched 2 innings,
Yeah.
we're over here like, oh, Brown found it, and that's a good confidence builder. And I don't think he showed anything in that first inning to say he was going to fall apart, Now, I'm not totally blaming Ben Brown because, Pomeranz comes in, he's your guy, and he threw a concrete mixer, and that dude crushed the ball for a 3-run home run. If Pomeranz makes some pitches there, we get out of the inning, and we're still not mad at Ben Brown. Ben Brown did not have a great second inning, but Pomeranz was the one that gave up the kill shot. And that's, but again, the offense, I think, is the bigger problem. It starts with the original lineup, which, again, it seems to be kind of a habit of Craig Counsell to kind of give you're throwing out your B team on a chance you can sweep somebody. Here's your B team lineup. Hopefully you guys get them. But 1 run against a pitcher that had close to a 6 ERA is just unacceptable. I think more blame goes to the offense than goes to any of our bullpen.
If you're asking me, are you more worried about, somebody said you believe in this bullpen, are you more worried about the bullpen or the offense come postseason time? Because we all believe they're going there.
Yep.
That's a pretty good question. I honestly am saying the offense.
I agree right now.
Right now, It's the offense I want to see turn it around. There are other arms that will become bullpen guys just by the way baseball changes in the postseason, right? Like Assad's probably a bullpen guy, not a starter when it comes time for Tyone might be a bullpen guy.
I'll throw a nugget as well. Michael Soraka. He has been throwing right now in the mid-90s, and I saw a tweet that said that last year when he was used as a reliever, he had the second highest strikeout rate, only second to Mason Miller. So a healthy Michael Soraka in the bullpen throwing mid-90s could also be a really good addition to our bullpen as well.
Yeah, and you can go 2 batters at a time if you want to, right? The minimum amount. And it's all about getting outs, and it's all about getting matchups. There is a little bit of credit to be given to Cade Horton that he is canvassing right now. Between an Aaron Savali and hopefully Mike Soroka comes back healthy, there will be a lot of options for him out of that bullpen. Look, this all comes back to competing with the big boys in October.
Yeah.
Just look at some of the lineups that the Chicago Cubs could potentially be facing when you talk about Kyle Schwarber and the Phillies, Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers, Manny Machado and the Padres, Juan Soto and the Mets. I mean, those are just the headliners of those lineups. And on a day when, I'm with you. Sometimes when Craig goes B lineup, he goes full B lineup.
He does.
It's all B sides, not playing the hits.
No.
But again, when you have Kyle Tucker a little banged up and PCA clearly needing a mental reset or a bit of a blow, and Seiya is still dealing with some of his issues, this is a little bit of what you get. Unfortunately, the guys couldn't pick him up today.
Well, if there was a player that I was looking at in the line, Reese McGuire is the first look and you say, okay, something's a little different today.
Did you envision a bunt single from Reese McGuire?
A pop bunt single, by the way.
That was
a one hopper.
I did not. But I also didn't envision eating 2 pieces of cake tonight. Now, truth be told, when you're looking at that lineup, you're looking at Reese McGuire, and I say, okay, that's one I'm questioning. We wondered when we heard Kyle Tucker had the calf injury and would not play tonight, would that push PCA back in? We'll discuss that in a little bit, whether or not PCA should have been back. But the guy is Castro, and I see a lot of people questioning whether or not Willi Castro should have played. Well, Alcantara is the guy that has been killing lefties, but not necessarily righties.
Right.
So that's part of the decision there. And then you look at it and you say, well, wait a minute. He's the guy that drove in the only run they had.
2-out hit.
So while I did question it going into the game, the proof is in the pudding. He did drive in the 1 run they scored.
He did, and Carlos Santana actually hit the ball really hard multiple times today. So, I know his stat line isn't, and also striking out at the end of the game looking not a good look. Yeah. But before that, he had some really good swings and some hard contact that was encouraging, a little bit there left or right, and you got a couple hits in there. So, you got to play these guys. I understand, like, from Counsell's standpoint, and Luke, to your point, you're giving your stars and some of your star bullpen guys not 1 but 2 days off because of the off day, right? So I kind of get it. And who can you do that against? A team like the Rockies, a team like the Braves. Unfortunately, our B team didn't rise to the occasion to make Craig look smart. It's just now we're looking at an offense that scored 1 run against a guy that literally almost had a 6 ERA coming in.
Yeah, that's funny. Craig hasn't really had one of those like, the wily manager makes the right call, pushes the right button, and the Cubs offense rewards him from that. That hasn't happened a whole lot this year. I will tell you, though, with Carlos Santana, guys, I have a bag. As a guy who grew up in early 2000 with Carlos Santana albums, I have a bag of Carlos Santana jokes that I'm just like dying to bring out. I just need him to get like
Save
one
the bad jokes for me. That's my thing.
I know.
I want to hear one.
I want to do like it's a hot one tweet so badly, and he just needs. And you're right, he hit the ball a little bit hard, and I'm sure Cubs fans, we can talk a little bit more about why him versus Turner. But yeah, no, look, this type of lineup got a little bit of the results that you probably would expect, and now you just take a day off and roll it back over to Friday.
I see my guy Charlie the Bacon Guy is back in the YouTube chat. So what up to Charlie the Bacon Guy? He wishes that we would have had a little more out of Cade Horton. I got a question for you as we head to break. Is Cade Horton possibly a Game 1 starter for a Cubs playoff team? Tell us what you think in the live YouTube chat. How would you use Horton in the playoffs? But first, a word from our sponsors. Can we just be real for a second here?
Let's.
The world has gone soft. Everybody gets a trophy for just showing up. Everything needs to be bubble wrapped for everybody. Soda used to have some kick. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola's not a soft drink. It's a damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC's the OG cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC has changed its stripes. It never will, not since 1905, because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. Do yourself a favor. Grab some RC Cola at a local store. Stock up for all your summer parties, back to school celebrations, and just watching a game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing.
That's got me pumped up. So, hey there, Cubs fans.
Wheels,
Get ready for epic family fun, because Monster Jam is coming to you in Rosemont. The world's most famous Monster Jam trucks and best drivers roar into Allstate Arena from September 12th to 14th. So get ready for nonstop excitement with gravity-defying stunts, heart-pounding races, and plenty of big air. Big air! The world's best drivers tear up on the dirt as they battle for the event championship in three competitions, two-wheel skills, and everyone's favorite freestyle, where Monster Jam trucks defy the laws of physics and do the impossible. Experience Monster Jam live, like become a fan for life with the ultimate day of family fun at Allstate Arena from September 12th to 14th, 2025. Get ready and cheer and be amazed as Monster Jam trucks and world champion drivers take over Rosemont for a weekend. Tickets on sale now at www.monsterjam.com.
Wheels. Well,
Why's that man yelling at me?
I'm exhausted after that ad read. For those of you that didn't see it, I'm physically exhausted from that ad read.
You got to take your pulse, man. You all right?
5-1 Atlanta over the Cubs. They don't get the sweep. We've got a couple of Toyota Super Chats from our guy, Steven. $2 Steven, we call him. He says for $2, Horton deserves better. He can kick Brown's ass. Steven also says for $2, Ben Brown makes my blood boil. And for $2 more, Steven says Brown's command is as terrible as his attitude.
I respect Steven because he could have said that in one comment, but he's like, you know what? We're going to go 3 separate ones.
Yeah, he could have done 6.
He's not a Ben Brown fan.
We'll give you a free one. Steven is not a Ben Brown fan. I am a fan of what I'm seeing from Cade Horton. 5 innings, no hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walks. Joey, the stat again, over the last 9 starts?
Over the last 9 starts, he has allowed 2 or less hits in 5 of those starts.
Wow.
He has now allowed 2 or less runs, or 1 or less, or excuse me, he's allowed 0 runs in those 9 starts 6 times.
Wow.
This guy is on another level.
He's a beast.
He's an absolute beast, Justin, and we were having the conversation, I think a lot of Cubs fans are having it as well, about Cade Horton versus Jake Arrieta, who's having a better run and a better heater right now. I think the only thing that's holding Cade Horton back is his pitch count right now because he's not going as deep into games as Jake Arrieta.
We had said Arrieta would have gone to the 8th in this game.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's not Cade Horton's fault. That's the manager and the pitching coach pulling him because he's younger.
And hopefully it pays off, right, with a great future for the Chicago Cubs. But, man, Justin, I mean, this guy's is pitching as well as anybody, not just on the Cubs in the National League, but in baseball right now.
That stat you gave, he's in a company of 3.
The cruncher, Chris Kamka. Marquee.
Skeens and
Skubal.
I mean, like, that's
8 and 8.
Good
that's
names.
a pretty good company to be in if you're Cade Horton. And I mean, Luke, you kind of teased it earlier. I mean, he is our best pitcher. Currently, he's our best pitcher. Now, body of work, what happens going in October? I think you can't name a number 1 starter today. No. But if I was naming it today, Cade Horton is my number 1. I mean, he is just he's unhittable. He's
starting a series for you.
1,000%. Today, yes. Now we'll see. Again, he's pitching. He's more innings than he ever has, or at least in a long time. So we'll see how he holds up the next couple of weeks and going into October. But right now, I want him getting the ball game 1.
That's crazy because what Chris Kamka's stat shows is that's all since May 10th. Skeen, Skubal, and our guy.
Yeah.
That's the day he debuted. Since he came on.
Crazy.
He's right there with the 2 best pitchers in baseball.
Yep.
So then I started looking around and I was thinking, and we'll get to whether or not I think he should be game 1 starter. But I looked at Dan Plesac tonight. My guy Danny Plesac put out his list for the top starting pitchers since as of September 2nd. Skeen, Skubal, Crochet, 1, 2, 3. He's got Cade Horton, 16. Matthew Boyd, number 22. So I shot off a little text message, name drop, Dan Plesac. I said, Danny, you might have to move him up. Did you watch? And he's like, he's very, very impressive. I said, yeah. Would you start him game 1 in a playoff series?
Ooh, what'd he say?
You'd have to consider it. Okay. And I said, if you're the manager, this is what I think it is right now.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with what you're saying, Justin. I'm in this camp that this is becoming a discussion. It's one of the 10 big questions facing the Cubs as they push towards the postseason. That's one of them. Mm-hmm. Is it Imanaga, then Horton, then Boyd, so you break up the lefty-righty-lefty thing? Yeah. You don't have 2 lefties. Dan's leading that way too, but he agrees that it's starting to become a conversation that Horton has been so dominant, even though he has 0 playoff experience. And you got good playoff pitching out of Boyd, and you think that Imanaga can handle it.
You think so, but, like, Japan is different than America. So, like, I say Horton and Imanaga don't have playoff experience in America.
But if you look at Shota's numbers since he got here, he's been almost as good as anybody in baseball, right?
Totally.
Like, it's a great problem to have. Yes. Boyd's been one of the great surprise stories of this season. I like the idea of splitting them, but if Horton continues this for like 3 or 4 more starts, they're going to definitely have to consider pitching him in game 1.
I think this is a really fun conversation, and I don't know if there's a wrong answer because we're talking about it as of today, right? So these power rankings can change multiple times. I think we're all in agreement on this panel, and I'm wondering if the chat does too, is that I think Boyd is in that 3rd spot right now. If I had to start a series tomorrow, I will say I would go Shota Imanaga in the first game for a couple reasons. Let's pretend right now that it's a best of 5 and a best of 7, maybe not the best of 3 because it's a little bit more traditional. I think Shota Imanaga gives you an opportunity to pitch him multiple times in a series. I think Cade Horton, if it was that 3-game, whatever, that shortened wild card series, I love Cade Horton. If you win game 1, Cade Horton in game 2, I'm starting to feel really, really good about myself. Yep. But again, Shota Imanaga to me is just, he's so incredibly bankable. He will keep you in the game. If you want to talk about making a version of attempt to manage your bullets, bullpen-wise, starting Shota in the game, he will give you the opportunity to maybe go a little bit deeper, just based on pitch count, maybe not on merit or ability.
That's a good point.
And it does back up a little bit that you allow the rookie to go game 2 and kind of be, if Shota can be the hammer, or what is the phrase? If Shota is the nail, maybe Cade Horton is the hammer on a series. It's a fun argument to have, but I think it is fair to say, Justin, that is Matthew Boyd in your 3rd spot right now? Just recently, he's come back to earth a little bit.
If it was first half all-star Matthew Boyd,
right,
different conversation.
Yes.
The second half, I'm not seeing he's a different pitcher right now. He's still very, very good, but he's not as dominant as he was first half. Horton is way more dominant, and I agree. Shota would be, listen, my heart tells me I want Cade Horton starting game 1 today, but my head is like, okay, no, it's Shota 1, Horton 2 for the reason we talked about, Luke, and then Matthew Boyd 3. All 3 very good pitchers, because what excites me is Matthew Boyd in the playoffs last year was awesome.
Lights out.
Lights out. So, he's the one guy that has the experience in our top 3 rotation. So that excites me a lot too. One thing I will say, Joey, is that, we pulled out Cade Horton in the after the 5th inning of no-hit ball in a regular Wednesday game here in September. We're not doing that in the playoffs. I would imagine
That's
Cade
what
Horton,
Steven's asking. Why can if he only pitch 5 innings? A, they wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't, right.
And B, a lot of guys don't do that anyways.
Yeah.
Like that, it's just a different game. Like, you don't see a lot of starters do that in the postseason,
Right.
but if you have a guy that's been that good, you leave him in.
Well, I'll double down. Not only we leave him in at least for 6, you're also not going to bring Ben Brown after him in the playoffs either.
Correct.
You're going to bring some of your studs.
You're
so
going
it's going to be
Keller
a whole
right
different
away.
game.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited we're talking about playoff baseball.
Yeah, Luke, if you could project this out, what we've seen from Cade Horton was last month they allowed him to throw anywhere between 80 to 90 pitches. I believe 92 was his high during that span. Over the last month, though, this most recent stretch where he's been fantastic, I don't think he's touched 80. I think
they won like 70, 75.
He's been in
right
the
now.
70s.
Yeah.
So from your seat, like, how would you play this? Like, when would the gloves be off for you? Is it a week before the season ends? Do you try and wait till October? If it's October and he's pitching in a game, right?
Is this swimming?
It's like 95 pitches.
Is this
Let's
swimming?
roll.
Is he tapering? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
he's tapering for the big race.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
tapering,
Or what
yeah.
is that?
Michael Phelps,
Or what's
he's
Formula
trimming
1
down,
when you like DRS? He's just waiting for the DRS
drifting,
zone.
tapering before the
drift.
big swim.
But when do you think they? Because at some point we have to say to ourselves, we need to push our best pitcher a little bit and let him ride. Do you
I don't
wait
think
a little
you need
bit longer?
to re-stretch him back out to have that game in the postseason. I would keep him 75, 80 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And if you have some games where you look at it and say, we're going to lose this game, or this game's one if we don't win or lose, there's going to be some starts here potentially. I think they're in this zone now anyway, where it looks like they're the 1 or 2 wild card at worst, and they're not catching the Brewers, so maybe he only needs to pitch 4 innings the next time.
At some point, you're going to clinch, hopefully, that number 1 wild card spot. And then, I agree, maybe just a little bit of fine tune-up, rest a little bit, get some other guys out there. So, I do, you said it earlier, Luke, I do agree, like, I'm delusional thinking that, the Central, but I think Craig Counsell probably is playing for the wild card spot, and that's why you're seeing, pulling Cade Horton, the B team squad in the starting lineup, some of the other guys in the bullpen coming in today so you can rest your studs for 2 games. I think Craig Counsell is definitely playing for that wild card spot, even though I wasn't ready to give up the division until probably tonight.
Yeah, the only one is that I just hope that Craig
Unless
Counsell
they win on Friday.
then we're back, baby.
I'll be there.
We're back in. No, my only hope is that I think so far to this point, when we talk about Tommy Hotovy and Craig Counsell, in my opinion, I think they've played it pretty pitch perfect with how they've handled Cade Horton.
Yeah.
I hope that it doesn't get into too much analysis moving forward, where obviously one example is if the Philadelphia Phillies are one of the opponents that the Chicago Cubs face in that wild card round.
Right.
They're below 500 against left-handed pitching this year. They've got Harper, they've got Kyle Schwarber in that lineup. They got Alec Baum. Like, would they overthink it and say we're going to go Shota and Boyd game 1, game 2, and do that Ted Lilly thing in 2009 where perhaps your best pitcher going at the time doesn't even get a shot because you're playing a certain matchup. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on too as well.
I still like Shota game 1. If he wins, you feel great about Horton going in game 2.
Yes.
If he loses, I still feel great about having Horton with all that on the line in game 2.
Yeah.
I think he has slid into 1 or 2.
1,000%.
He was number 3, unquestionably. In fact, we sat here about a month ago and I said, well, wait a minute. If Tyone comes back and starts doing Tyone things, because he had, like 11 straight quality starts at one point. Horton, the question was, is Horton your 3?
Right.
Or is Tyone your 3?
Right.
Horton's been so great now that it doesn't matter what Tyone does.
Totally, yeah.
Horton has now moved up to 1 or 2 for me.
And I'd say, statistically, Horton has moved up to number 1.
Yes.
Statistically. But, you got to be smart about it. And Shota is your over the past 2 years, he's been phenomenal. Like Horton's got a smaller sample size, but that small sample size has gotten pretty big, guys. I mean, we're talking about a pitcher who is, you say, came up in May 10th. I mean, he's been unreal. I mean, he's a game 1 pitcher in the future. Probably this year he'll be your game 2. I hope not 3 though.
No, it's a great. I mean, no, the sample size is large enough. I mean, this is Cade Horton. This is a little bit of who he is. He's been so good all season long, and we've had this fun conversation about game 1, game 2. If it was a game 7 tomorrow, I'm probably pitching Cade Horton over any of them.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
If it's
like,
tomorrow, right?
Yeah. If it was tomorrow, we had to do a game 7. You had to pick one guy at full strength from this Cubs rotation. Who's hotter than Cade Horton right now? How do you say no to that? So this is what this kid has done to put himself in that position, and the future is incredibly bright for him and the Cubs.
When his comparison since May is Skubal and Skeens.
Yeah. I was going to say, not even the hottest pitcher on the Cubs, like one of the hottest pitchers in all of baseball. We have him.
Plesac's got to put him in the top 5. He's got to move up from 16.
Like, call up Plesac. I want to talk to Plesac here.
On the ride home maybe tonight.
All right.
If I can get another piece of cake to go with me. All right. As we head to break, the question is, should PCA have played today? Or do you like what the Cubs are doing with Pete Crow Armstrong, trying to get him back on track? Let us know in the live YouTube chat. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Chicago sports fans. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. They've got spreads. They've got props, futures, in-game. Circa Sports has it all. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Chicago Cubs heading towards the playoffs right now, playing a bunch of teams below 500. Great time to get involved with Circa Sports. Chicago Bears, ever heard of them? Kicking off this Monday night against the Minnesota Vikings at home. Definitely, that might be worth checking out with Circa Sports Illinois. So download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Remember, you must be 21 or older, and if you or anyone that you know has a gambling problem, just call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You can't have fall without a great tailgate, and you can't have a great tailgate without Omaha Steaks.
Preach.
Enjoy USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy and convenient comfort meals, plus tailgating favorites like wings, smash burgers, and big deli style franks. Right now during the Red Hot sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with the promo code Cubs at checkout. Every steak is perfectly aged. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide right now during their Red Hot sale event. And for extra $35 off, use that promo code Cubs at checkout. Can't you just hear Peyton Manning? Omaha! 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 That's 50% off. omahasteaks.com. An extra $35 off with the promo code Cubs at checkout. All right, Cubs lose 5-1. Cam is wondering when Tyone would be back. I believe he is pitching for Iowa tomorrow.
Yes.
Thursday, the Cubs' actual off day, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that is good news for him. We'll hopefully get an update before Friday on what's going on with Kyle Tucker. But the Cubs didn't get the sweep. Now they get a day off, which they definitely need. And we've still got plenty to talk about here on the show, starting with PCA. I thought PCA was going to play today because Tucker was injured in last night's game with a calf injury that he said he started to feel a couple days before that. I'm glad, number one, that Tucker didn't play tonight. Mm-hmm. Thankful. I'm also glad that PCA didn't play because I'm of the mind that PCA, getting those two healthy and right, is the most important thing that can happen to the Cubs in the next 22 games. Yes. That doesn't mean necessarily playing every day. I don't care. It's not exactly the same treatment that they gave Kyle Tucker. There's way less fanfare to it, for one.
Yeah.
There's no fractured hand, hidden story that comes out and is revealed in between. There's no doubleheader, rain out, all that stuff. But he's going to get 3 days off. 3 days without playing a game. To me, it's the right move. I'm glad they didn't bring him in as a pinch hitter today. Yeah. I'm glad he wasn't in as a defensive replacement, up 1-0. For me, it's the right move, resting him.
And give Counsell credit, because once Tucker got hurt, it would have been very easy for Counsell to say, okay, PCA is my center fielder over Castro. You know what I mean? Like,
or Alcantara.
Or yeah. I mean, so it would have been very easy for him to do that. But I agree with you. PCA needs these days off. He's not right mentally, maybe physically drained, maybe hitting a wall. I don't know. But I couldn't agree more. The key to this team succeeding in the postseason is a healthy Kyle Tucker and a mentally and physically healthy PCA, because you saw firsthand what those two could do in the first half of the season. And I'll throw Seiya Suzuki in there as well, because you saw what those three could do in the first half of the season. And it was a totally different team the first half of the season offensively than what we saw like tonight and even the past few weeks. Like what we saw tonight, I don't think even comes close to happening in the first half of the season, because you had Tucker, PCA, and Seiya kind of firing on all cylinders, and we need to get back there for October. And like we all said earlier, I think Counsell's playing for the wild card and playing for the fact that we are healthy and right and good momentum going into the playoffs, versus got to win every single game to catch the Brewers, because it's probably not going to happen. Yeah,
healthy and right is my biggest thing right now when we talk about Kyle Tucker, and right more specifically when we talk about PCA. PCA over his last 100 bats, hitting 160, 216 on base percentage, 230 slugging for a 446 OPS, 29 Ks in that span, only 5 walks, only 2 stolen bases, only 7 runs scored. So when we talk about a guy whose previous month's OPS was 953, 889, 772, 984, that's pretty much consistently one of the best hitters that we've had in our lineup all season long. And to see him putting up these numbers right now, combined with the fact that he is in the top 3% in chase rate among major league hitters, I think this is the right time and hopefully the right moment and hopefully the right amount of time, right, to kind of give him a bit of a mental step back, a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a reload, maybe get in the cage, try something different, and try and get back to being the MVP caliber player that he was. We saw Craig Counsell do this with him at times last year, but Pete Crow Armstrong was so good that he literally put Craig in a position where he couldn't sit him at any point this year. So I understand some people, and I heard from friends in my thread tonight being like, if Kyle Tucker is hurt, you got to play PCA, because then what do you do with the offensive lineup? You do have to kind of treat these people on separate tracks, these players on separate tracks on different journeys throughout their season. And I'm glad that they're doing this right now. And hopefully by Friday, PCA, I'm not saying he's going to show up and hit 3 home runs. But again, we've seen it with Tucker. All it takes sometimes is a couple good at-bats, a couple good swings, a good mental reset, and then you can kind of get back to being the PCA that we all want to see.
3 home runs in 2 games would be nice. David Snyder says, Counsell just an eccentric, calm, I don't care jerk who sabotages every time he gets a chance to get a sweep with his weird lineup picks. I don't know if I would have a different opinion about PCA playing or not playing tonight and getting the 3 days off if, for instance, the Cubs were 1 game behind the Brewers, 2 games behind the Brewers. I might have a different feel for it, right?
Yeah.
But they're not. And they do have a big lead in the wild card. And I think they're going to be good enough that that's not going to matter. So that's why I've started to, like, I didn't care about the lineup really going into it. I noticed it. I thought about it for a little bit, but I wasn't upset about it like I would have been 2 months ago if I saw it.
Yeah.
It's the timing of it, and it's where they are and the reality of where they are. So now what I'm about to say also might contradict that a little bit.
Okay.
But hold on. What did Theo used to say? Every opportunity is sacred. You want an example of that? Look at the Atlanta Braves. Who didn't have the Braves in the postseason when the season started? Everybody had them picked. You thought Chris Sale was going to be healthy. You assumed it would be same old Braves. It would be Phillies and Braves back and forth, and they might be right there with the Dodgers. They're going nowhere. They're going home. So every time you look at this Cubs team and say, well, this is a building block season, and you can look at it and they're going to be right back here next year. No. There's no guarantee that Boyd's this guy next year. There's no guarantee that Cade Horton is this guy when the season starts. None of it is guaranteed. We don't have the same PCA that we had at the beginning of the season. Yep. So all bets are off on next season. You worry about next season when it gets here. If you've got a chance to get into the playoffs, you got to give it your best. I think they're in. So that's why I'm not worried. That's why I say I sound like a flipping bluegill on a pier, but I'm not. What I like about what the Cubs are doing is these tiny little moves that seem like nothing right now. They really do, right? It's a bunch of guys that are just floating around baseball, and you're like, how is this going to make a difference? It's Billy Hamilton being signed by the 31st, which means he could never play for the Cubs, or he could end up on a playoff roster in one series where they think stealing a base might be the difference in the series.
He could pull his who's the manager of the Dodgers?
Dave Roberts?
Dave Roberts. He could have his Dave Roberts moment for the Red Sox.
Stealing a base.
For the Cubs this year and leads us to the World Series.
Yeah.
It could be absolutely nothing, right? But there he is. Aaron Savali, didn't see it coming. Carlos Santana, didn't see it coming. So I ask you the question, which of those three guys, Billy Hamilton, Aaron Savali, Carlos Santana, which is the most likely to somehow win a big game or big playoff game for the Cubs?
Ooh.
So
I don't know if it's any of them, but which one is the most likely?
So the one that's interesting to me, and I think a lot of people are scratching their heads and they're saying, why is Carlos Santana on this team while Justin Turner is also still on this team? In my opinion, and the numbers support this, but I think my opinion is based on what I think their thought process is when you get into October baseball, and let's just say it's the 7th or 8th inning, and you got to have a guy come up and pinch hit and have a professional at bat. The numbers on Baseball Savant back it up. When it comes to fastballs this year, Justin Turner simply hasn't gotten it done. His slugging percentage is in the 340s. His whiff percentage is 17.5%, somewhere along those lines. On the breaking stuff, he's been a little bit better, and off speed, he's been a little bit better. When you look at Carlos Santana, it's the exact opposite. He's done a little bit better handling fastball. His slug is at about 40%, so about 400. The off-speed and the breaking ball stuff is where Carlos Santana has had problems. So if you could just mash them together like some sort of centipede, you'd have a great veteran player off the bench.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're giving him a tryout right now, because what do you see a lot of times? You see high velocity out of the bullpen. You see big-time four-seam fastball, and maybe they're trying to decide who's the best person to maybe fit that role. I mean, I want to say it's Carlos Santana, and then, of course, he came up tonight in a game when he couldn't have won the game, Justin, but 5-1, you get a base hit there, or if you just put that veteran,
can we say one thing
walk.
Where it's like, if he would have had the walk, bases are loaded, you're down by 4, who comes up?
Dansby Swanson.
Against his former team. The theater, the storyline was there, and Santana ruined it.
Yeah, there was little bubbles in the water. It wasn't boiling water, but there was like little bubbles there. So the Carlos Santana one I find to be intriguing. And Luke, really quick, you spoke a little bit about Craig Counsell. What did he say specifically about Carlos Santana?
Oh, I
about him joining the Cubs.
I heard some quotes from him talking from Santana saying multiple teams were interested. He could have gone multiple places, but Craig Counsell was the only manager that called him and said, "I need you on this team." Now, he's worked with him before.
Yeah.
He's played for him before, but he was the only manager that picked up the phone and said, "Hey, man, come here. I need you on this team." A, I believe him, and B, I wonder, is that because he doesn't believe that Turner can get those hits that he hoped they would early in the season?
Those two are going to compete for one spot in October.
Doesn't that seem like it?
Totally.
Correct.
I mean,
doesn't it seem like
they're
that?
not pinch running?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
One of those guys is out. And I was going to say, like, on the flip side of the whole who can make the best impact, none of those guys could be on the roster at all. Because even like, Savale, I mentioned earlier, Soroka is rehabbing right now. And I think a healthy Soroka throwing mid-90s in the bullpen is a better option than some of the guys we have currently. Tyona's coming back. So Billy Hamilton, it's a luxury to have if you think it's the right matchup in the right series, but there's a possibility that none of those three guys could be on the playoff roster.
Well, Savali's also an arm. Like, if he's not part of the postseason picture, he's part of the problem that's going on right now, trying to get some of the arms fresh for the postseason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Limiting the amount of times, if you've given up on the division, but you're still going to hold on to the wild card, limiting the amount of times you have to use Keller before the playoffs. Limiting the amount of times you have to use Pomeranz or Theo Bar, yada, yada, yada down the stretch.
Well, and you've said to yourself, we've gotten so much out of Colin Ray. I mean, how much
Yeah.
are you going to wring more out of him? Right. And what I would say, too, as well, when we talk about Craig Counsell, and I think this is actually a really fascinating time, where I saw some people in the chat about the eccentricities and the lineups and everything like that. Well, I think part of the criticism of Craig Counsell early on in the year was that he didn't do anything. He didn't show any emotion. He didn't fight back. He never got kicked out of a game. Now, granted, he's gotten kicked out of a couple games here and there. I'm not a big, rah-rah guy on that side of things, but we have documented evidence of whether it's the Kyle Tucker situation, the PCA situation that we're talking about now, even the lineups, even the way that he's going to deploy an Aaron Savale or how he uses up some of these bullets that, Justin, I think you're right. Maybe some of these guys won't even be in the postseason picture, but they'll be a part of the journey to get us to the postseason. Yeah. I think it is a little bit of a TBD because we're now seeing Craig Counsell push some of these buttons and make some of these moves. Whether these moves are correct is yet to be determined. So maybe the criticism, maybe bottle that up for a couple of weeks because we might be either saying Craig Counsell was right, he needed to sit down PCA. The Kyle Tucker thing so far, Justin, sitting him down, looks like the right move because he came back with a strong weekend. He did. So some of this stuff is now that Craig Counsell is making some of these moves and trying to be that $8 million a year manager. I mean, maybe we need to wait out and see a little bit if these moves turn out to be correct.
The Kyle Tucker thing appears to have worked offensively for him. Now let's hope that same magic works for PCA because we need him now more than ever, especially, I'm not so sure Tucker plays on Friday. I'll be honest with you. I've been hearing the quotes, and I feel like there's kind of not the same story. So I'm not sure that Kyle Tucker is a slam dunk to play on Friday. We'll see.
Yeah, my question for you, we did this last night, is if he doesn't play on Friday, that'll be, 3 games and a day off? Just and if he didn't play on Saturday, what are we doing here? Just IL the guy. What are we waiting for? Yeah, I know we have roster spots. I know we expanded rosters.
True.
But at some point, you go day by day. I mean, at some point, when do you just say to yourself, we're going to back off of this and try and get him as 100% as we can?
I'm hoping they've all learned their lesson with the finger injury because it was so bad for so long that this time around the communication is better. And Kyle's like, I can't go, or Counsell's like, you're not going. I hope that we've learned from that horrible stretch that the same mistake won't be made again.
Hey, is Porter Hodge just an Aaron Savale who might just be filling up some innings now? Or is Porter Hodge up and, man, if they could catch lightning in a bottle, wouldn't that be an addition to the...
That. I think he's that because he's shown it in the past. Last year he was great. I mean, he's got the stuff. I mean, he was our closer. Yeah. And honestly, coming into the year, you probably thought he was gonna possibly be a closer. So I think that you're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle, and it's not so far fetched because last year he was that guy. And if he can get right, he looked really good tonight. And, I know last time out he wasn't so great, but bases loaded, nobody out, and then they only scored 1 run. So maybe something clicked and he right the ship a little bit. But he is somebody who could be a big weapon down the stretch and in the postseason if he can kind of get back his form that he had last year.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Porter Hodge, but I would just say really quickly that I think he needs 3 really, really clean outings before we start kind of getting ourselves into that conversation. Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, where his stuff is bam, up, down, that slider looks great, that fastball. He's pinpointing and commanding where he wants to. I would like to see that for a couple more outings before we start doing that.
I'm glad we're on the same page. I didn't bring the water spray out tonight, but had you said tonight that's it, he's back, then I would have had to hit you with the water spray.
On the podcast, or was it amongst us? I brought a blue broom in my car.
Oh, you mentioned the start of it. I said the broom of gloom.
That's right. So had I brought that in, I would have encouraged you to spray the hell out of me for just being completely delusional.
Luke would be smacking you with it, right?
Yes. I mean,
I would have put it on high stream.
Yeah,
because you're a little far away from
I would have deserved it because that would have been pathetic.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys. We mentioned Tyone is going to throw for Iowa. Brazier's also going to throw. Yeah. And so that's another name. I've grown really leery of Brazier. Mm-hmm. And so then I start throwing some of those names around, and you're thinking about postseason rosters and games that matter and yada, yada, yada. And it's like Brazier, Hodge, Savale.
Soroka.
Who fits in that? I don't know. I mean, saw Soroka barely pitch, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Those are the things that have to be decided in the next 22 games. Mm-hmm. So some of them are going to pitch. We'll see who's hot. As far as Santana or Turner, I think it's who's actually hot the next 3 weeks. If one of them can say, I want that role, I think that's what we'll see. But I think if things are even, it might be Santana just based on the fact that he gives you a backup plan at catcher in an absolute emergency.
Right.
He's definitely better defensively over at first base. And I think he can hit a fastball better than Turner. You're going to see a ton of
question
fastballs.
though, from a human standpoint, from a human standpoint, hearing that Craig Counsell called Santana and said, we need you.
Right.
If you're Justin Turner, he knows that there's probably one spot for him or in Santana. You got to kind of feel like, oh, okay. I mean, I know these guys are getting paid great, not a problem, but I'm saying, like, you can't be too confident with your job knowing that you were kind of begging to bring Santana in, and that's the one guy that could take your spot on the roster.
No, it's got to be a little sobering for a Justin Turner who's had a really great career, who I think is still on this team because he's fantastic in the clubhouse.
For sure.
And you see him all the time with his arm, either around Matt Shaw when he gets pinch hit or PCA when he gets frustrated. I think he's been an invaluable David Ross-ish type figure in this lineup. But, man, Justin Turner tortured us for years on the Dodgers, right? With runners on first and second, and all of a sudden it's 2-1, and you're like, I'm not going to like how this is going to turn out. And Justin Turner absolutely smashes a fastball into the gap. He's not the same type of player, hasn't been able to take advantage of the same kind of pitch counts that he was before. And that's, it comes for us all. The end of careers can happen quickly. And, God, we've seen it with all the greats. All of the greats.
He gave us a walk-off, though. He gave us a walk-off.
Yeah. And he's had some big base hits. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but the consistency and they're trying somebody else out. So clearly they're trying to see if someone else can do it a little bit better than what they've been giving.
I think Joey just looked into his crystal ball and told us that he thinks in Game 7, Justin Turner will be carried off on the shoulders of his teammates.
Wow.
Oh, that's what I think I read it between the lines. I'm just reading between the lines. Real quick, before we get to Sammy and D. Lee coming up this weekend, how about the Framber-Valdez thing? I know it's not Cubs, but it was so unbelievable that it was like he waves off his catcher's telling him step off the mound with the bases loaded. He doesn't. He throws the pitch. It's a grand slam.
Mm-hmm. He was not happy.
His response, mixing up the catcher almost clearly on purpose. The catcher is thinking changeup, and he drills him in the chest with a fastball.
Mm-hmm.
And his catcher looks at him like, are you serious? And you read that the reaction in the clubhouse was like, what?
Well, on the mound, Valdez, after he did that, turned around almost like, gotcha kind of thing. They had a camera on him. And then in the clubhouse, I guess the clubhouse in Houston was really mad about the situation. The manager apparently called both guys into the club, his office. And now Valdez is saying that it was a mix-up, a mistake.
Sure.
I will say this. Back in the day, when you're doing one fastball, 2 curveball, 3 slider with indicators, you could say, oh, man, I got the sign wrong. Now with PitchCom, isn't it saying to you, like, fastball, slider? I mean, isn't it talking to you? Where, like, you really can't blame it on an excuse anymore because PitchCom is telling you where to throw. I think it was intentional. Not a very classless move by Valdez.
You know what? You know how they could have solved this, Joey? All they had to do was bang some trash cans, and they would have known what pitch to throw to each other. All right, before we go, we got to do our Taking the Temp segment here. And what we're going to focus on is D. Lee and Sammy Sosa being honored. And your trusted local experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all your special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. What will be the hottest moment of the weekend with Sammy Sosa and D. Lee going into the Cubs Hall of Fame?
Oh, I mean, Sammy. I love Derek Lee. I have a brick at Wrigley Field that says Justin Roman, #1 Cubs fan. It says 23, 17, 21, 25. My favorite players. Sandberg, Grace, Sosa, Derek Lee. So nice. I love Derek Lee. But for me this weekend is Sammy Sosa. I mean, I'm going on Friday by myself because they're going to honor Sammy Sosa. Now, I don't know if he's going to have a moment where he can, like, run out to the outfield and do his thing. I don't know what they're doing to honor him. But, like, I just want to be there because I told you before, Luke and Joey, Sandberg was my favorite Cub of all time, but Sammy was my second favorite Cub of all time. And I love that the marriage is back on. I love that he's welcome back at Wrigley Field. And I want to be there when they honor this man. So as much as I love Derek Lee, I think Friday, the Sammy Sosa game is going to be electric.
Yeah, I've maintained for a long time that, however you feel about how Sammy went about his production during those years, Sammy changed the game in Wrigleyville, and he changed Cubdom for me personally, and I would like to think that he changed Wrigleyville in that 98 era and ushered in a whole new stretch that allowed the Chicago Cubs to even really start to dream of, is this the year? Or, wait till next year turn into, is this the year? Because you had those preceding years of, you had 98, they were a decent team, in 2000, and then obviously 2003, 2004, they went for it, and then he was out. And yeah, Sammy, when you think about Ryne Sandberg, what I loved about him was that he was so incredibly talented, and he was athletic, and he was fast, and he was strong. But he had a very human quality to him, where he felt like one of us, and I felt like
humble, very humble.
Maybe I could attain something with hard work and dedication to be Ryne Sandberg. I'm sorry, but Sammy Sosa was like a superhero, man.
Yeah,
he was a big, strong superhero, and
not as humble. No,
either. Not as humble.
And it wasn't steroids; it was a spider that bit him.
Yeah, exactly. And that cork that snuck into his bat, but he went up against big, giant four-armed Mark McGwire that summer in the St. Louis Cardinals, and he would not let the hated Cardinals, our rival, get the better of us. Right? No. He matched him home run for home run every single year.
He was a showman.
He was a complete showman. He turned Wrigleyville. That's a great point. Turned Wrigleyville into a circus from the sprint out in right field to the kisses in the dugout
to the hop flag
to the hop.
I've already said it. I called it at Cubs convention. I said Sammy's going to come out on the stage with the little flag.
Yeah,
that's what has to happen. Just like the Blackhawks were doing one last shift with their old guys. They bring them out, let them skate for the first skate before the game. Sammy needs to come out in uniform on Friday
with a flag,
with the W flag.
Oh, okay, I like that.
And run it out to the outfield before the game.
Yeah. And the only thing I'll say,
take it from Clark. Clark runs it to him, then Sammy takes it the rest of the way.
Start at the Mag Mile. Make him do the whole thing.
Right.
Let's make him do the whole
thing.
thing.
And then Oprah takes it from third base all the way to home.
To Svengoolie, to Bozo the Clown.
And you name dropped Plesac earlier.
Yeah.
I got to interview Sammy 3 times already, so I got to know him pretty well. And I'm not joking. I don't know who he was back in the day, but who he is today, he is a lot more humble and a lot more appreciative. And I'll tell you what, nothing means more to him than the Chicago Cubs and the fans. So I know for him, Friday is going to be a magical moment. I know the convention was a little part of that, but something about being at Wrigley Field again for the first time. I mean, it's really going to be something special. I can't wait to be there on Friday by myself.
Well, and in regards to Derek Lee, some of my memories about Derek Lee was the first one was when they traded him for Hee-Sop Choi, and Hee-Sop Choi was this highly heralded first base prospect coming in. And I'll never forget Jim Hendry saying, you know what, at Wrigley Field, Derek Lee could lead the National League in home runs one day. And I went, okay, we'll see how that goes. Had a good season, and then what was it, 05, 06, whatever it was, hits 46 bombs.
He's our last 40 home run hitter.
He was hitting 400 after the first month. And no, he was...
It was a magical year. He was phenomenal that year.
So I did a whole exercise on this of the greatest offensive seasons that Chicago Cubs players had in the 21st century. Number 1 is Sammy Sosa. Number 2 is Sammy Sosa. Number 3 is Derek Lee.
Yeah.
Derek Lee is the only... Sammy has 2 seasons of over 7.5 WAR in a season. Okay. Derek Lee has 7.7. And PCA is actually on course to be the 4th one in the 21st century to do it.
I thought you were going to say Carson Kelly.
And one more thing about D-Lee, and we got cheated because if it wasn't for Rafael Furcal and that injury to his wrist,
oh my gosh,
you don't even know what Derek Lee could have done. I mean, I think he was never right since that injury because of wrist. You know what I'm saying? So
no, he came back a different player.
I think we got cheated into seeing how great Derek Lee could have been, but still, he was a very good player.
It's funny because they have a weekend of 2 guys, both sluggers. Mm-hmm. 2 totally different players.
Did it a different
way. 2
way.
Totally different
100%.
Personalities.
Yeah.
Right? Like D. Lee is so quiet.
Uh-huh.
He threw some bows though a couple times.
Well, he stood up to Zambrano. He stood up to Zambrano against the White Sox in the dugout. Man, if that would have happened, that would have been the brawl of all brawls.
And Derek Lee's a big guy. I mean, he was a big dude.
If anybody
hung out
could
with
have
him
stood
before.
up to Carlos Zambrano, it was D. Lee.
And a phenomenal defender. And
incredibly smooth. And we talk about a big guy, 6'5", but incredibly graceful, had a great swing. And for a couple of years, though, he was incredibly locked in. And then he put together several really productive years, just a really great Cub. And honestly, during a fun time that was unfulfilling as a Cubs fan because they didn't go as far as I personally wanted them to. But, I'm in college. This is after 03, and the Cubs are going for it, right? They're trading for guys. They're bringing back Maddox. They're trading for Nomar. And Sammy was the start of it. Derek Lee continued it through that era, so it's great to see them both get that acknowledgement. Highly well-deserved.
Yeah.
I'll also be at Wrigley on Friday, so I cannot wait.
We should meet up.
I was going to say,
120 Club,
you
guys.
don't have to be there alone because the Friday 120 Club will
Hello.
be meeting at Murphy's.
My first one? Let's
Me
go.
and Justin
10 a.m.
Roman. Nice, bright and
Friday
early.
120 Club.
We'll
love
talk
it.
Sammy. We'll talk Bears. We'll have a wonderful adult beverage cocktail. And then also, if you get a ticket through our 120 Friday Club, you get a chance to go into the game and hang out with Greg Braggs Jr. Maybe, just maybe. So, incredibly fun weekend. The weather is awesome here. Man, and Cubs are a good team. It's a good time.
No game tomorrow. Corey and Brennan will have your podcast for you on Thursday. Make sure you check that out. The Cubs-related podcast here at CHGO. We hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy Sammy and D. Lee. Hope the Cubs continue to play good baseball. And we hope you continue to fly the W. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.